and welcome to the End Zone. I'm your host, Deion Imade, and today I'm sitting here with my good friend, Bill Huddleston. Bill, thank you so much for joining us today.
Always fun to be here in the end zone because that's where every player wants to go when he gets his hands on the football.
Exactly.
I mean, whether you're a defensive back and you picked off the interception, you want to take it to the end zone. Or if you're a running back or a quarterback running or throwing the football, you want the ball to end up in the end zone, and that's where we are today.
Yes, it is, and before I start off the show, I can't go away and not mention what a great job you and the guys at Vipe did with this Vipe's Pigskin Preview. Is a great tool for you to use for high school football.
Well, it's probably the absolute best collection all in one piece that you can find on high school football. I really think, of course, I'm a little bit biased, I really think anywhere across our country, because literally every high school football team in the state of Oklahoma is represented, whether you're a 6A school or you're going all the way down to Class C football. And we've got a little bit of information on everybody that's playing. We've got a lot of records from the past. You can go back and see which teams have kind of been on a trend the last 7 years, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in our show as to how we pick our top 10s today. But if you ask me to put my hand on the Bible and promise to tell the truth is within the book.
Bill Huddleston, do you swear to tell the whole truth, the high school truth, nothing but the high school truth, to rest you God?
So I do, right here with the Vipe Oklahoma High School Pigskin Preview.
Well, when we come back, we'll preview 5A and 4A during the whole show. Bill will stick around with us the whole time. We'll be right back on the End Zone.
At Bravado Wireless, we don't believe in wasting your time or ours. Our mission is to serve you with honesty and integrity. That's why we offer upfront competitive pricing with no hidden fees in our plans. For $40 a month, you get unlimited talk, text, and data with nationwide coverage. No data caps and no restrictions. No matter if it's your first, second, or third line, you only pay $40 per month per line. All of that with coverage on America's best network. We're your local service provider. Come get to know us. Go bold, go Bravado.
Hi, we're Bravado Wireless. You may have seen us at your local events and wondered just exactly what we do. We provide the highest quality cell phone service, specializing in outstanding coverage, both locally and nationwide. We're headquartered right here in Oklahoma, with multiple store locations in eastern Oklahoma. We provide the most affordable, unlimited talk, text, and data plans available. Make sure you stop in now and enjoy our other amazing summer deals before they end. Visit Bravado Wireless store locations for all other details, or go to bravadowireless.com for more information. We are Bravado Wireless, and we believe in the power of connection.
Welcome back to the End Zone. Well, we're going to go ahead and start with District 5 preview. Bill, how about we go ahead and start first with District 5A, District 1.
Well, if you want to rank the districts in order, you always want to stop with number 1 because that's where everybody wants to be, right?
Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
So the first school we have on the books here is Noble. Noble is a team that's coming off of a 10-2 record.
Right.
Pretty impressive season. I mean, what is your opinion about that?
Well, it's a ball club that had a fantastic season last year, and they've got some places to fill it back in. But, they're going to use their spread offense. They're going to use the 3-4 defense. They've got some talented players, whether it's the running back Brandon Carter or it's Austin Tanner, who's a big offensive lineman who can kind of grind out some holes. But I really kind of like their defensive efforts, too, because they like to play aggressive. A bear kind of likes to put his claws into you, and that's what their defense likes to do.
Well, I mean, it's impressive. Defense wins you championships. I mean, first loss in 20 years.
Well, it'll be fun to see what happens. That's for sure.
Yes, it will be. Going next on the list, Lawton Mac. What do you think?
The Highlanders.
Well, how do you feel they're going to fare this year?
Well, I think they've got a really good chance of being what I would say one of the two teams that will really have a strong shot at winning the district title. I mean, they've got a young running back there who started the last 2 seasons by the name of Nazir Kemper, who can turn it up to high speed with just 2 steps. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to get the first step to get the ball, and after the second step, you better have a hold of him because he can really kind of make things go. They've got a couple of big offensive linemen, Cardwell and Bonds, and Zerger, I think, is also another guy. But Joey Mars is the guy at quarterback that's going to have to be kind of calm, cool, and collected in the pocket, running that offense, be the man on the field that's kind of the coach on the field on the offensive side. And they do have the 6 offensive starters, but they've got 8 starters back on defense. And typically that spells pretty good success for you.
Yeah, it certainly does. And then with Coach Hall running that flex bone offense, kind of a unique twist. You don't really see that much often this day in high school football. So it's going to be interesting for them to have that kind of advantage over teams not used to facing their offense.
It does create some personnel challenges.
I would imagine. Next on Class 5A District 1, El Reno.
Well, this is my pick to win it all in that
Really?
district. Yeah, I mean, 8-3 last year. I mean, they've got a very strong team last year. Coach Atchison did a good job executing his game plan last year, and the kids just carried it out. They've got a linebacker who, in just 3 games, you'll appreciate this, before a season-ending injury, 32 tackles. He is a man that can find the football, whether it's in the backfield or coming up the field. He's got the speed and the ability to chase you down from behind. A quarterback in Darian Plumley that is really good, 1,372 yards and 18 scores a year ago. And he's got the guys to throw to it, whether it's Tyler Vargas or Kyler Hunt. And like I said, linebackers, they like to take your head off. And with 8 returning starters on the offense to go along with their defensive playmakers, I think El Reno Indians are the team to beat in District 1.
Well, any linebacker who averages more than 10 tackles a game, that's the guy I want on my team.
Well, he's certainly going to be one of those guys that'll be a big difference maker for El Reno, and they're looking forward to a district championship and figuring big time into the 5A rankings when it's all said and done.
Last team on our list from District 1 of 5A is Ardmore. Now, the Tigers, they got a nice tradition of winning football games over there. How do you feel like they're going to shake out this year?
Well, Josh Newby's going to do what it takes to win. He comes from a family of football success. His father, Ron Newby, was a very successful high school coach, and Josh has just continued on in his father's footsteps. The Ardmore Tigers were 6-4 last year. They've got a few key games on their schedule with a September 11th matchup with another team that's going to be kind of a surprise in 5A. That's Shawnee. But once you get out into district play, you've got El Reno on the road on the 23rd of October, and then at Noble, and then finishing up against Lawton Mack. So that could have some real playoff implications in those final 3 games of the season. But when it comes to key players, Donald Mays, a senior, I mean, here's a guy that can make a lot of things go. Anton Scallion is just one of those. But how about this one for a linebacker name? Preston Pickens. He picks off running backs and he picks off passes. He makes his stats work for him.
Hey, man, that's some branding for you right there. After missing the playoffs last year from 2018, making it to the runner-ups after state, and then missing the playoffs, and with all their skill position players coming back, I think they're poised to have a good year as well.
I'll tell you this. A lot of people were chanting last year when the Tigers were obviously not going to make the postseason. The opposing fans were cheering Ardmore no more. Well, now it's Ardmore forevermore because they're forevermore back in the 5A football playoffs.
We'll see how they go.
It should be exciting.
Well, when we come back, we'll preview District 2 of 5A, and we'll continue on and go to District 3. We'll be right back on the End Zone.
We were there when your grandparents made their first telephone call. We were there when your parents were able to choose what to watch on cable. And now, we're here for you, providing high-speed internet service to your family. There is one thing we know for sure. No matter what happens next, Cross is here to keep you connected. Cross, serving families like yours, today and tomorrow.
Hey there, have you heard? Bravado has deals for days.
You mean like a free smartphone?
Well, yeah.
With unlimited talk, text, and data for just $40 a month?
You're darn tootin'.
Then why the blazes are we talking on these?
Make the switch to Bravado today and fall in love with a brand new free smartphone. See store for details. Find locations at bravadowireless.com/boldmove.
Baby, you're the boldest.
Bravado Wireless. Experience the power of connection.
Welcome back to the End Zone, provided by bravadowireless.com. Remember, all your high school games can be seen right here at bravadowireless.com. Well, we did District 1.
Yes, sir.
Might as well get to District 2.
Well, we might as well get to District 2, and it's not going to – I'm going to have to hold my breath before I talk about the team that's going to win it all in 5A. But it's going to come out of 5A too. But we'll just keep this thing in order.
Don't give out all the secrets yet.
No. My mother and my grandmother taught me as a young child, don't do as I do as I say. And the bosses said, we're going to start with the Guthrie Blue Jays.
Exactly.
And there's good reason to start there because, I mean, while they haven't had the best seasons of late, they were 4-6 a year ago, they've got a tradition of winning football there inside the rock wall in Guthrie.
Hey, a friend of mine, Kai Staley, would tell me that they have a great tradition of winning over there.
Well, a guy that I spend a whole lot of time with now here in Muskogee is Rafe Watkins. And he kind of was he was the general of that football program when they were winning championships year after year. And Kelly Beebe's stepped in there and done a great job offensively and defensively. I mean, they've got a quarterback by the name of Josh Raines who last year had 38 completions for a little over 838 yards, but he's got some go-to guys as a wide receiver, Jalen Allison and Ken Torres Barber. But over on the defensive side, Caden Stevenson, it's interesting you talk about Kai Staley and some of those guys. They really knew how to play championship-level football, and the Blue Jays are getting there. 7 offensive starters back on that side of the football with David Moore getting some big D1 looks, and he's a huge, huge tackle.
Yes, he is.
And when I say huge, he's not just a little guy. It's pretty easy to find him when he's out there on the field. They got speed on the back end with size up front. It's a great combination.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, they got a lot of key games on the schedule. September 25th versus Piedmont. October 2nd, Carl Albert comes into town. And then, October 30th, at McGinnis. So it's a tough schedule, a tough district, and it's going to be interesting to see.
From all the stories I've heard about the matchups year in, year out between the Titans and the Blue Jays, there was not a seat to be had, especially when you played at Guthrie, because the Blue Jay fans will follow their team home and away. But that place will be rocking on October the 2nd when the two squads get together.
I can't wait to hear about it. Hopefully Bravado Wireless is out there as well. Going down the list.
Following along with the boss's orders.
Exactly. Number 2 team from District 2, Piedmont. What do you think about these guys?
Well, it's a state semifinalist from a year ago. I mean, 10-3 on the season. They got 6 returning starters back on their offensive side. It was by far the best season Piedmont's had in their school history. And they've got some playmakers, an outside linebacker who had 102 tackles and 6 sacks a year ago, Caden Hendren, 6'3", 190 pounds, but he does move very, very quickly, sideline to sideline. He has a good nose for finding the football. On the offensive side, Joey Mars is the quarterback, but again, the outside backer, Caleb Hendren, is kind of the guy that I've looked and seen and found easily when you're scouting Piedmont as a real difference maker.
Yeah, and with the defense, that 4-3 defense, and his abilities to go sideline to sideline, it's going to be really, really impressive to see what Piedmont can do this year.
Well, they've got their hands full in their district race, that's for sure. But with 8 starters back on defense and 6 on the offensive side, including 3 big hogs up in that offensive front line to move the ground game, Piedmont will be a team to contend with, that's for sure.
And the team that's going to be contending with them in that district is?
The team that's going to contend with everybody else is Carl Albert. I mean, the Titans are really one of those teams that I think you could put them in any class. I know I kind of jumped over the list here, but I got too excited because
you didn't do what the bosses said.
Everybody remembers the night you played the Titans because, I mean, it's a team that's won 4 consecutive state championships. And they just know how to win there. And, when you talk about 13-1, only 2 losses in the last 4 years, 52-2 record. Mike Corley stepped in there when Gary Rose retired. And, of course, Gary and I were college friends at East Central University in his playing days.
Oh, the stories that you guys could tell.
We can't tell them here. Okay, we'll keep that to ourselves. But they've got some real playmakers. Javion Hunt's a running back who is a true headstrong running back, had over 1,000 yards rushing last year, 11, 14, and 25 touchdowns. But the guy that runs the offense is the quarterback, Ben Harris. Here's a guy in his career day has 7,200 yards plus passing and 71 touchdowns. He's 41-1 as a starting quarterback. That's a pretty good record. And
I'll say.
And then you've got Dobson, Noah Dobson, 6'3", 370-pound offensive lineman.
They don't make them that size in high school.
You and I both could hide behind him.
They don't make them that size normally in high school.
Exactly. But, I mean, it is a team that is going to be tough to beat, and I don't see anybody really getting in Carl Albert's way of winning not only their district title, but I'm just going to go out and say it now. I think they are the team to beat in Class 5A. But a guy that wants to make things happen are the Irish of Bishop McGuinness.
They certainly do.
And they seem to think they've got the luck of the Irish. They're going to get a 0-week start against the Muskogee Roughers, and then they'll play a non-district matchup against one of the better teams from the east side in 5A in Bishop Kelly before they start their district competition on the 18th against, that's not a district game, that's against Del City, and then they'll get into district play, and it'll be the Irish and the Titans in week 1 of district play on October the 9th.
Yeah, it should be a very interesting matchup to see how they fare against Carl Albert. With all those athletes on the field, it's going to be a fun one to watch.
11-3 last year, felt like they should have got it all finished, but came up just on the short end of the stick, and they'll have their hands full knocking out the Titans. But the Irish of Bishop McGuinness are a team that feels like this may be their lucky year.
Hey, man, luck of the Irish might strike upon them. Well, when we come back, we'll preview District 3 and the rest of Class 5A.
Planning a weekend away in your camper? Take your Bravado Wireless home internet with you. Right now, our most popular internet plan has been chopped. While other internet providers are stuck at home with all of those wires and your obnoxious neighbor, Hank, you are free to take your wireless router to your home away from home. Visit us at bravadowireless.com to find a store near you. We are Bravado Wireless, and we believe in the power of connection.
At Bravado Wireless, we don't believe in wasting your time or ours. Our mission is to serve you with honesty and integrity. That's why we offer upfront competitive pricing with no hidden fees in our plans. For $40 a month, you get unlimited talk, text, and data with nationwide coverage. No data caps and no restrictions. No matter if it's your first, second, or third line, you only pay $40 per month per line. All of that with coverage on America's best network. We're your local service provider. Come get to know us. Go bold, go Bravado.
And welcome back to the End Zone. Well, we've got District 2 out of the way. Now District 3. Bill, who do you like?
Well, I know we have some certain teams we're going to talk about, but I'm going to roll the dice and think that Forrest Maisie at McAllister is going to stir up a little bit of muddy water in this district before it's all said and done. I mean, it's a team that got into the playoffs last year, and they got some key players back, including a linebacker that's a 3-year starter by the name of Chase Faber. I mean, I think here's a young man that could lead the defense, and then they got some offensive guys up front, some big fellows in the offensive line. So that's going to be my kind of surprise playoff contender out of this district in 5A3, but there's some very, very good football teams that'll be in the playoff chase for sure.
Speaking of those good football teams, Tulsa Edison is one of those teams that really put on a show last year. What do you think about their chances
Well,
this
the
year?
Eagles, unfortunately, don't have Savion Morrison coming back. He's traded his green for Nebraska red. But 10-2 last year, Tony Daniels' multiple offensive schemes really going to create some exciting things again for the Eagles. I mean, Chris McClellan, a defensive end, Gerald Thompson, a defensive back. I mean, here's two guys that are game changers on the offensive line. Again, you got another one of those big guys that likes pancakes and sausage and bacon, and he'll take another stack because he had 27 pancake blocks, and he's 6'3", 305 pounds, and that's Iman Oates. And it's not oats that he likes to eat. It's defensive linemen that he likes to put on their backside.
I hear you. And he's going to have a lot of trouble on his hands when it comes September 18th when Booker T. Washington comes into town. It's going to be a good matchup. So hopefully Oates eats his Wheaties that way.
Well, they've got some other big games on their list. And, of course, they're all district encounters. And every game when you play district, I mean, you can't afford to lose a game that you're supposed to win, and that's what Edison's going to have to do again this year.
Yes, they are. Next team on our list, Shawnee, the Wolves. How do you think about them and their season?
Well, they definitely have a new mentality because they've got a brand new head coach, a very exciting personality. Jason Sexton really relates well with the athletes, and he's got 2 standout players. The Wolves didn't have that good of a record last year, 2-8, but they're dropping down from 6A now into 5A. And with the playmakers they've got, like Jalen Orange, who last season had 8 pass interceptions, and he also was a playmaker on the offensive side. And the guy that I think that may be their best guy, and that's Big Joe Maytubby. He's 6'1", 240 pounds, but he moves faster than a speeding bullet. I mean, he can get to you in a hurry if he's playing as a tight end or a wide out, or if he's over on the defensive side at end. You're not going to go around his end, and if you run away from him, he's got the quickness to chase you down. So Shawnee may be that team that nobody thinks is going to be in the playoffs, but they just may be good enough to get there.
Well, first-year coach Saxton has got his hands full, but, hey, coming from Muskogee, why not?
Well, he's got a trail of success that included Muskogee for a couple of years as defensive coordinator. He was at Midwest City there when the Bombers had really good defensive teams too. So he also played at Oklahoma State. So you got to like that.
I love that. Going down our list, the next team, the Coweta Tigers. Coweta coming off a not too bad of a season, going 500, 6-6. What do you think? How do you see those go?
Well, they had a big upset in the first round of the playoffs when they went on the road and beat Tahlequah. And they're bringing some kids back that know how to win. Coweta's got a big offensive line. Justin Hines, he's 6'6", 235. On the defensive side, he had 75 tackles a year ago. But then, you got Gage Ham, who went 2,350 yards passing last season. So he knows how to make things happen. But, with 9 offensive starters back this season, there's plenty of speed. There's plenty of playmakers there in their spread attack, the 3-4 defense. They're going to have their challenges, but they've got some playmakers that can get the job done. And I look for Coweta to have a pretty exciting season.
Well, they're going to have to start off fast, especially with Powerhouse Wagner coming into town. So it's going to be interesting.
Well, that's the Highway 51 rivalry. And Wagner, I'm just going to go out and tell you right now, they are loaded. Offense, defense, special teams, they got it. And Coweta's going to have everything going the right way. And, they start off with Wagner, and then on the 18th, they play Muskogee, and then they get into their district play. But Coweta's going to do all right. Tim Harper's going to do a great job there.
All right, next on our list, Bishop Kelly.
The Comets. Well, 8-5, got a veteran coach in J.J. Tapana. Doesn't do a lot of fancy things. He runs the I formation.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of high school teams still today that run the true I formation. But J.J. Tapana says that's what we do, and we do it better than anybody else. And
last time I saw an I formation, I was in middle school.
Well, Owen Hennige's going to really make a big difference there because he's a powerful running back at 6'2". They get a wide receiver by the name of Jeremiah Basis, and then 7 starters on the offensive unit and 7 back on defense. You get that type of returning experience. I think you got good things happen. They were 8-5 last year, but they're going to have some interesting matchups, going to have some big ball games on their schedule. Of course, Bishop Kelly is, going to be one of those teams that will be chasing not just a district title, but also in that hunt for the big gold ball.
Yeah, we all want to see somebody take home that gold
Somebody's
ball.
going to.
Somebody's got to take home the gold ball.
For the last 4 years, it's been the Carl Albert Titans.
Exactly.
Now, will it be the CA again this year? Well, some of these teams, like Bishop Kelly, say not so fast, my friend.
Well, Class 5A is ran by Carl Albert, but anybody can win on any given Friday.
Absolutely, and everything will go through Carl Albert on the way to the championship. But there's some teams in District 4, too, that I think are anxious to maybe say, we would like to bring the ball back to the east side of the state. And there's some reasons for that, too.
Well, let's talk about that when we come right back here on the End Zone.
Here at Bravado Wireless, our #1 priority is keeping you connected during these turbulent times. We understand that staying in touch with friends and family is of the highest importance. To that end, our company goal is and will continue to be keeping our network operational so that you can communicate with those who matter most. Inevitably, as we deal with COVID-19, we expect usage patterns to change as people are staying home, in which this could result in our network capacity becoming stretched thin. In these times of heavy usage, you may experience degraded network quality, more busy signals, and slower data rates. If you experience these issues, we ask for your patience as our network technicians are focused on keeping the network operational as a top priority. We hope that you understand as we are all dealing with this health crisis together.
From nationwide coverage to live high school sports to the great outdoors and so much more, we've got something for you. We're a local wireless carrier right here in Oklahoma. We work for your town, in your town. But great cell phone signal in rural areas is just scratching the surface. We also broadcast live events from all over eastern Oklahoma. High school football, basketball, baseball, dirt track races, livestock shows, and community events. Everything to keep you connected in your community. We're also producing original shows like Connect Outdoors and Cooking Wild that shines a light on real Oklahoman experiences. You can find us at bravadowireless.com, or you can search for us on Facebook or YouTube. You can even find us on the Oklahoma Sports Network. You can download their app straight to your phone, Apple TV, Smart TV, or Roku. We don't just create for Oklahoma, we are
Welcome
Oklahoma.
back to the End Zone.
We're Bravado Wireless,
District
Oklahoma's service
District
provider.
4 of Class 5A, and I mean, district is loaded once again, so what do you think?
We have been talking about typically 4 teams in each district, but I don't think you can talk about 5A4 without talking about 5 teams. Claremore Zebras 6-5 last year, but just remember I said it. Look for the Zebras to be sneaking into the playoffs when we get to that second week in November.
You can't miss them. They're the one with the stripes.
But another good team that is in this district, and a team that may deserve the preseason favorites role in District 5A4, has to be the Cardinals of Collinsville. Kevin Jones' team was 8-3 last year. Multiple offensive sets, 3-4 defense. Braden Gilkey, here's a young speedster running back, 5'11", 190 pounds, that also will hit you pretty hard. The wide receiver, Caden Bowie, has got a lot of playmaking skills, and if he catches the ball in space, he can turn it up and turn a little short out into much more than a first down. Sometimes it's touchdowns. And, of course, the offensive line's got 4 starters back. It's primarily a run-oriented offense, but when you got that type of size up there, like you see with some of their offensive linemen, and then the fact that they've got just the mentality of ground and pound, they're going to move the football and move it successfully.
Yeah, defensively, though, this year they're moving to that 3-4 scheme. So trying to get more speed on the field, and that's the way the game is going this day and age. If you really want to get a little, crazy, put 5 defensive backs out there.
Well, here's what I've found out in over 40-plus years of chasing high school football and college football broadcasting and stuff, is if you don't score, they can't beat you.
That is math, guys. That is math here on the.
That is a proven fact. If you don't let the opponent score, you'll go undefeated, right?
Hey, you can't argue with that.
And I think Collinsville is one of those teams that is going to really muscle up defensively this season in 5A4.
Well, another team that's side by side, going on to the next one, Sapulpa.
The Chieftains.
Yes.
Now they're moving down from 6A to 5A. Ball club that went 6-5 last season. Rob Borgstad just has got that program going in the right direction, and the move down to 5A is going to be really good for them personnel-wise. They've got one of the more talented athletes in all of 5A, and a young man by the name of Tazon Taft, who I saw as a sophomore literally annihilate opponents. I mean, he could do it pass receiving. He could do it running the football. They'd put him out at a wide receiver and bring him in motion, pitching the football, and then just let him go. And he would go pretty good. He had 1,002 yards last season on 118 carries, but he added another 616 pass reception, and altogether had 18 touchdowns. So you can tell he's a key figure. Keeping him healthy will be a real key thing for Sapulpa if they want to make things happen. Of course, Zach Mason's coming back at quarterback, and then you've got on the defensive side Dylan Wick, who's a 6', 175-pound cornerback who likes to bring the wood, so to speak. Had 45 tackles last season, but so goes Sapulpa will be so goes Tazon Taft. Keep him healthy. Keep him headed north and south, not trying to go east and west all the time. Keep him running straight ahead, whether he's on offense or defense. He'll make things happen for the Chieftains.
Yeah, they're going to need him on both sides of the ball. And I like what you're saying. I've seen him a couple of times. Love the way he operates on the field. And those jet sweeps, man, he gets to going around that corner. He's dangerous.
Well, he's a guy that is not just a football player. He's a very talented basketball player, too. He knows how to fill it up.
Athletes.
That's exactly right.
Well, check out some of these athletes for Tahlequah. The Tahlequah Tigers are the next team on our list. What do you think about them in their upcoming season?
Well, the first thing I would say is Brad Gilbert and his program have proven that they've got all the pieces. They've proven it that they know how to win football games on Friday night. They have 5 consecutive winning seasons. They hosted a first-round playoff game a year ago, although it wasn't didn't come out the way they all wanted it to. But again, it's a team that has got some key positions to fill in. I mean, they've got to find a new quarterback, but they've got a running back in Malik McMurtry, and they've got a wide receiver in Kobe Baker, who's a sure-handed guy. But then if you go to the defensive side, that's where I really think they stand out. Free safety Quayshawn Leathers, and Baker will get over there on the defensive side too. They make a very strong tandem on the defensive side in that secondary, and then of course with those two guys along with McMurtry, I mean, they're going to be really good, but they've got to find the key people, such as a quarterback, who's going to take and run that offense and make it purr like a roaring tiger and come up with good success. And I know we're going to be hearing a little bit more in depth about the Tigers later on.
Yes, we will. Next team on our list.
You tell me. It is the Pryor Tigers.
We're
going to go from the orange Tigers to the blue Tigers. Blue and gold, that's the colors there at Pryor. And, of course, Kenny Davis is the head coach there. Saw that young man have a pretty outstanding career, college level, playing at Northeastern State University. He's taken that mentality. He grew up in Adair, then is now the head coach there at Pryor. And 6-5 a season ago. Ben Ward is his quarterback. He moved into Pryor from Cleveland, so that's a big help there for Pryor's hopes. Ethan Chavez is a 5'10", 190-pound senior linebacker that last year had over 100 tackles. Could be possibly, with the way their schedule rolls all the way to September 25th, their preseason schedule, pre-district schedule, they could be undefeated when Tahlequah rolls into town, and that will have a big bearing on the early part of the chase for the top four teams there. But with Ward at quarterback and then the receiving abilities of Bobby Belu, I really think that Pryor Tigers are a team that have a real solid chance of getting that playoff picture too.
Certainly, and you just mentioned they could possibly be undefeated when Tahlequah rolls into town, and all that's going to depend on what they're going to be able to do with their depth. If they're going to have that surrounding cast around them that we don't know about yet, that's going to improve and propel this team to a team that we're expecting, but not knowing who's going to be those named guys, they could have a good chance to have a very successful season.
Well, I can tell you, knowing Kenny Davis as I do, with the attention to detail that he has, his kids will understand their responsibility. But he'll be first to tell you, knock on wood, need a little bit of luck, stay healthy.
Yes, that's certainly do. And we'll try to stay healthy when we go to this next break. When we come back, we'll give you our 1 through 10 of how we think Class 5A is going to end up. We'll be right back here on the End Zone.
Here in Eastern Oklahoma, we know that dirt roads have a unique way of helping us find direction. Whether you're figuring out where you're headed or where you came from, Bravado Wireless was built on the back roads to help you find your way. Right now, you can get 3 free months of our premium wireless plan with your choice of an iPhone SE on us or half off an iPhone 11. No matter what direction you take, Bravado Wireless has you covered. We are Bravado Wireless, and we believe in the power of connection.
Wireless companies need 4-page brochures to explain plans that are too complicated and cost way too much. We are not like the others. We are Bravado Wireless. We offer 1 line of unlimited talk, text, and 4G LTE data for only $40 per month, with no minimum number of lines and no hidden fees. This is your year to be bold, connect fast at the best price. We live where you live, and we are proud to be a part of your community here in Eastern Oklahoma. We are Bravado Wireless, and we believe in the power of connection.
Welcome back to the End Zone, provided by Bravado Wireless. I'm your host, Deion Imade. Bill, everybody's been waiting, and now we're here to present it to them.
Well, most people think we might start with number 1, but I'm going to ask you to go old school and start David Letterman style. And we'll go 10 and work our way up to number 1.
Who's this David Letterman guy?
Okay, that's all right. I'm showing my age, I guess. But the TV star of the late night scene, and he had his Letterman's top 10.
Oh, really?
But typically he went 10 through 1. So
I'm more of a Jimmy Fallon guy. So.
All right. Well, current day and years gone by, but still it's the top 10 as we pick it, right?
Yeah, sure.
So I guess you want my 10 and all the way to 1, or you want to just go?
How about we go back and forth?
All right.
And you start off.
Well, I've got a handful of teams that I've got at the number 10 spot because I threw a few of those in when we were breaking down the districts. But Lawton MacArthur has to be in what I would say the number 10 spot, along with McAllister, Coweta, or possibly even Sapulpa.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and choose from that little bundle of joy you got there at number 10, and I'm going to go with Lawton Mac. I think they got a good shot of, having a successful season, and I picked them at number 10.
Okay, Noble Bears are my pick for number 9.
You know what? I'm going Sapulpa.
Okay, all right, very good. All right, very, very good. All right, let's find the number 8 team on our list. And to me, I mean, that's a toss-up because I had 3 or 4 right there. So I'm going to leave it open because I think one of these teams that I mentioned a moment ago, with McAllister and Coweta and Sapulpa, they're going to knock somebody out there. So Noble could move up to the number 8 spot, which would, I guess, let me agree with you. But anyway, we'll find out.
You know what? I'm going to go with Piedmont. I like what you saw as far as last year, and I think they're going to have a good year this year, so I'm going to stick with them at number 8.
Luck of the Irish, Bishop McGinnis are my number 7 pick.
Really? Okay. I'm going to go with some Tigers and go Coweta, number 7.
All right. You're going to go chalk on me, I guess. That's what we're going to do right here.
Exactly.
All right. My number 16, though, are going to be the Tahlequah Tigers. Brad Gilbert. The Tigers are still a little bit growling in the pit of their stomachs because of that playoff loss, and they want to make sure that everybody remembers that the Tigers are for real, and they'll be what I'm going to pick as my number 6 preseason team in Class 5A.
You know what? I'll stick with El Reno. I think they're a good team that's going to have, their hands filled with their schedule, but I think they'll get it done.
Now, granted, my picks aren't the same as what's in the Pigskin preview, okay?
Okay.
These are just how I would have voted if I had been given a chance to vote in those rankings.
Well, here at Bravado,
okay,
give you an opportunity to
all
say
right, I say Tahlequah number 6 and Piedmont to be number 5.
Okay. I got Bishop Kelly at number 5. And then let's go ahead and skip up to number 4, and I'm going to go ahead and choose Ardmore as number 4.
That's where I'm going to put in the El Reno Indians. I think they've got the returning playmakers to warrant a preseason pick, at least from my ballot.
Okay.
And I'm not going to mail it in. I'm going to go to the polls and vote.
Yeah.
Okay. And the number 4 team in my preseason top 10 in 5A has to be the Indians of El Reno. And then number 3 are the Comets of Bishop Kelly.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with Collinsville at number 3.
Okay.
And then Bishop McGinnis, Luck of the Irish, at number 2.
Okay, and that's where I've got Collinsville coming in as number 2. Remember I said the Irish were number 7. I kind of knocked them down in my rankings just a little bit, not disrespecting them. That's just kind of how I think it'll fold out. Collinsville number 1, and then if anybody wants to argue with the two of us about who should be number 1 in Class 5A, all I say is I'm an old fella, but I think I know a little bit about high school football, especially in 5A, and there is not a way you contend for a 5A gold ball without going through Carl Albert. Because everybody remembers the night they played the Titans.
Hey, man, the last 4 state championships have went home with the Titans
10 times since 2000. And I think this will be the 11th here in 2020 if all things go right.
Hey, man, it's been right for the last 4 years. I don't see it going any other way.
Cordy and his crew of Titans know how to win football. They can make the offensive numbers go in a hurry, and then they do play just traditional punch-you-in-the-mouth type defense.
Well, let's close that chapter on Class 5A. When we come back, we'll have a lot more high school football for you here at the End Zone. From nationwide coverage to live high school sports to the great outdoors and so much more, we've got something for you. We're a local wireless carrier right here in Oklahoma. We work for your town, in your town. But great cell phone signal in rural areas is just scratching the surface. We also broadcast live events from all over eastern Oklahoma. High school football, basketball, baseball, dirt track races, livestock shows, and community events. Everything to keep you connected in your community. We're also producing original shows like Connect Outdoors and Cooking Wild that shines a light on real Oklahoman experiences. You can find us at bravadowireless.com, or you can search for us on Facebook or YouTube. You can even find us on the Oklahoma Sports Network. You can download their app straight to your phone, Apple TV, Smart TV, or Roku. We don't just create for Oklahoma, we are Oklahoma. We're Bravado Wireless, Oklahoma's service provider.
Welcome back to the End Zone, and our next guest is a special guy that, you know what, Coach, I got to say this. Congratulations last year on winning the district title. It was an impressive victory, and, you know, Brad Gilbert here with us today.
Well, thank you very much. It was a great year, you know, if you look back on it, and, you know, first district title that Tahlequah's had since 1991, and, you know, it just kind of represents who we are and what we've been doing and trying to accomplish over the last 6 or 7 years that I've been there, and those kids put in a lot of work and were able to accomplish one of those goals that we set every year, and it was great to see. So it was a great year for us. It didn't end the way that we wanted it to, but it, you know, the regular season was a great tribute to those young men.
Well, it never does unless you have that gold ball in your hand, and that's the one thing about football that we all learned. You got to learn how to take some L's, but you got to celebrate those victories, and you got to celebrate that district championship. But as far as that goes, and achieving one of those goals that you set for your program, what was that a testament to? What was that?
It was our leadership. You know, I look back and I look at that senior group, one of the strongest groups we've had in our program. You know, and I think of key guys that really elevated the program across the board, and in all phases. It just wasn't on the field. It was in the locker room. It was in the weight room. It was off the field, you know, outside of our program. And it's one of those things that I talk about all the time. That is, everything that you do is a part of the program, whether you're with us or not.
Yeah.
And what you do, it comes within that locker room, and it affects us all. So they had a great leadership. The maturity was as good as we've had, and that's what I attribute it to. I mean, I know that we as coaches we're along for the ride. I've got a great coaching staff, but those young men are the ones that put in the work every day, and without that commitment that they make to not only the program but to each other, being the best teammate they can possibly be, we wouldn't be where we are, and we were fortunate to be blessed with those young men in our program.
Well, Coach, unfortunately, those guys do graduate, and so you got to replace them year in and year out. So who are some of the guys that you were expecting to lead the bunch this year?
Well, you know, I would start with a few guys. Quayshawn Leathers comes to mind. He's a young man that's really elevated his game over the last couple of years. You know, it was a slow start for him as a sophomore, but he got his first few starts in there as a sophomore late in the year, and then his junior campaign was just off the charts. Plays free safety for us. He's a guy that makes plays all over the field. He's a guy that's gotten offers already. He's a young man that does the things the right way. Another guy that I'd move to is Kobe Baker. He's a 2-year starter. This will be his third year to start for us on both sides of the ball. He's a slot receiver, but also we'll see time in the backfield, and he's been a starter also for his career at strong safety for us. Makes plays on both sides of the ball. Another guy that is very similar to Quayshawn, you know, in just the capacity of their leadership, but also just their ability on the field. And another guy that comes to mind is Angel Quezada. He's inside linebacker. He's a guy that saw a little time as a sophomore, but then really got his opportunity last year as a junior and started all 11 games for us at inside linebacker and made a lot of plays. And then Justin Hitchcock, I would go to him, and a guy up front at left tackle for us, got his first start week 3 last year, and really was a productive player for us, and really surprised us as a coaching staff. And I'm not taking anything away from him. We just didn't know if he would be ready. But when he got his opportunity, not only did he prove that he was ready, he became one of those guys that we could kind of hang our hat on. So, you know, those 4 guys, along with another young man, Bradley Pruitt, who's been a 2-year starter for us, and this will be his third year at slot receiver too, and he'll see time on the defensive side of the ball. So we got a good nucleus coming back. They've learned from those that have been in front of them. And what I mean by that is in just the upperclassmen and how they've led this football program. And I always tell them that, hey, we're only as strong as our leadership. And they've really embraced that, and they've handled it the right way. And I'm excited about where they're going to take us.
Well, Coach, I mean, like you know, every team, no matter if the players stay the same or if they come and they go, it's a different team.
Yeah, that's right.
And with the success that you guys had last year, what is it going to take this year from this squad to bring home another district championship?
You know, I would say that they continue to do what they've been doing. They've been doing everything the right way. And again, it's one of those things where every year the program continues to build upon from the year before, and I don't see anything differently than this year. It's a very close group. We changed a few things to make the group closer than what we have been in the past. Not saying that we haven't been, but where those upperclassmen understand and know who those underclassmen are, those sophomores that have just joined our program, and I think the bond there has really united this group, and they've been able to lean on each other in those tough summer months that we were working out and putting them through some of those things. So that's been a really a good thing to see, the growth in that aspect of our football program. Just everybody understanding who each other is and becoming better teammates, and so I would say that, and just continue to be who we've been. Continue to stay true to the core values that we believe in, and I believe as long as they continue to do that, I think we're going to continue to be who we've been.
Well, Coach, I mean, there's some new additions in the district this year. I mean, it's Sapopa coming in, when them dropping down to Class 5A. What do you think about their addition to your district?
And I would start with just our district as a whole. It's always been very competitive. 4 to 5 teams in this district. There's been some really good teams not make the playoffs. I remember 3 years ago, Collinsville didn't make it. A few years back, Skytook didn't make it. And so that just proves to the difficulty of our district. But yes, Sapulpa dropping down, it's exciting. A 6A team coming down to 5A, and knowing that they're going to have a lot of athleticism on their football team. They're going to be probably one of the bigger teams in what I'm talking about, in just size-wise, and just their experience that they've had playing against those 6A teams. Obviously, that's going to be a different element that we haven't seen, and so it's a challenge. It's exciting, and I think everybody in our district's excited about it.
Well, I mean, to get ready for the season, I'm sure there was a lot of preparation done this summer. What was it like, especially with the changes that came into play with the COVID-19 and the pandemic?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, there were some differences. We didn't get to work out as a team. We had to break it up into sessions, so that was something a little bit different. But our kids really embraced that and understood that that's just where we're at in our society and the things that we have to do, and they handled it really well. But as for everybody being there, they were, and it was great to see. And that's been a constant in our program over the last 6 or 7 years, and that's never been something that we've really worried about kids not showing up. They always show up. They come to do what they're expected to do, and it was a very productive off season. It really was, and we saw a lot of sophomores really, I would say, grow in those 2 to 3 months that we had them, that more so than what probably any other sophomore group that we've had. And you're going to see a lot of those guys, because of the experience that graduated, get opportunities this year. And I know that can be a little scary for a head football coach, say there's some sophomores maybe playing, and that's not something that's happened here, but that might be something we have to do this year. And so those are challenges, but the summer preparation was really good for us.
Is that something that when you initially came into the situation that we're all in with the pandemic and the COVID-19, that you knew your kids weren't going to be, as well conditioned for the start of the season, so you're going to need some depth from those younger guys? Is that something that you wanted to see, or is it an advantage that you're like, well, we got some young guys that are ready to play that we can throw in there if we need to?
That's a great point. Depth is a concern for all coaches moving forward. I really believe that. And I'll be honest, I don't know if we were expecting that from this sophomore group. So it was something good to see, because we know that with the current situation, that more than likely they're going to be counted on making a very big impact upon one Friday night, if not many Friday nights. And so it's extremely important for us as a coaching staff to make sure that they're being developed at a rate that's going to get them on the field and be able to produce on the field as any upperclassman would be expected to do so. So that's a great question, and I think that with where we're at, I think every coach knows going in that they've got to have more bodies probably ready than they've had in the years past, and so that's, again, there's a lot of challenges that are in front of us due to where we're at as a team, but also just things that have been presented, and that's exciting as a coach. I mean, you want challenges, because challenges allow you to figure out and find out who you are and how we respond to them. So, those sophomores, we're excited about them.
Speaking of those challenges, I mean, anybody who's watched Tahlequah football, when they look at you guys and they see the way you guys play and perform, you can always tell that you guys have this grinded out mentality. As far as the identity of the football team this year, do you think it's going to be in that same line of vision?
Yes, it is. As long as I'm the head football coach, I want to run the football. That's something we believe in, and I think the guys that we have playing the quarterback position will give us that option this year. The last couple of years we had Tate Christian, who had as good a leader as I've ever had at that position, and we were fortunate to have him. He was able to put the ball in the air a little bit and do some of those things. But yeah, we're gonna keep the ball on the ground. We're gonna be efficient in the run game, and defensively we're going to be physical and run the football, and that's kind of who we are and what we've been able to establish over the past 5 or 6 years that gotten us to the playoffs, and so we're not going to change anything that's not broken.
Not broke, don't fix it.
That's right.
You mentioned having successful quarterbacks being able to tote that rock. I mean, have you picked that starting quarterback yet? Do you want to? Are you ready to announce that?
No, we're not. We got 2 young men that have put themselves in a position to be that guy. So every day is an opportunity for them to go out and show us how much they've grown with every opportunity that they get, and we would feel good with whoever it may be. But the 2 guys are Hunter Smith, he's a senior, and Tyler Joyce is a junior. But over the next couple of days, weeks, obviously that's going to work itself out. You can only put one out there on the field at one time, so they understand that and they know that. And what's really important is for any quarterback competition that we've ever had, and this is the 4th one we've had since I've been the head football coach, and it's the guy that doesn't win the position, how he responds, because he can either divide a locker room or unite a locker room, and I think that's extremely important. And every situation we've had up to this point, that guy's always handled it the right way.
And it's very important this year, especially with everything going around, because there's no idea what you're going to face on a Monday. If a kid comes in and says, Coach, I got a cough, and then the next thing you know, a backup is literally going to be pressed into that role. So everybody's got to stay ready.
You're right. And what's scary for us is that could even happen on a Thursday. After you've prepared all week for an opponent with one guy, or you've got to have multiple guys ready, and that's just the case. And that's something that we have really expressed to not only the quarterbacks, but everybody.
Yeah.
You've got to be ready, because hey, Friday we could be about to load up on the bus and someone doesn't feel good. They've got a temperature. They register over 100.4 and they can't go. So there's a lot of moving parts this year, or there could be a lot of moving parts. So everybody's got to be ready. But again, that's exciting. I think it is. It's just it presents a challenge for us, and we've got to have guys ready.
That's one of the things at Oklahoma State that they always preach, because with the NCAA rules, there's only so many hours you can be out there, and because if you're not one of those top guys, you always got to be back there watching. And even if you're one of those top guys, you can't be out there practicing 3 hours straight. You're going to lose your legs by the time Saturday comes. So mental reps are important. That's something that these kids this year, you're going to have to remember. Deion Imade told you this, okay? Mental reps. Practice what you preach.
That's a great point. I completely agree with that.
Yeah. So, defensive side, I just mentioned, you know me, I'm a defensive guy. Who are some of the standouts that you got for us this year?
I mentioned Quayshawn and Angel, but I would just start with our linebacker core. We're an odd front defense, and so we've got 4 guys, and 3 of those are returning starters. Shaw Thornton, Carson Ferguson, and Angel. So we feel very comfortable with those guys, and they've been producing at a very high rate. And then of course you go right up the middle with our 2 safeties in Quayshawn and Kobe, and that's the core right up the middle. Now we've got to replace everybody on the defensive line, and we got to find 2 new starting corners. We have 2 injuries, or we would be okay in that position, but right now they're out. So that's kind of where we're at as a defense. But our defensive staff has done a tremendous job with that scheme and that defense over the last however many years, and I have all the confidence in those guys.
Well, you're going to need some confidence in those guys, because you've pretty much loaded up that non-district schedule. Well, tell me a little bit about that. I know Wagner's coming, being one of the top teams you got to face. So tell me, what went into that?
It's funny because it's been a game of interest for the last 3 or 4 years, and it just worked out this year. Coach Condit and I talked, and we were all for it. And so it was an opportunity. We had always played Coweta the last 3 or 4 years, I guess, 4 years, week 2. And that game kind of fell through. So we gave Wagner a call, and we were excited about it. They were excited about it. And they returned just about everybody that starts for them. So it's going to be a great challenge for us. But you know what? It's just going to prepare us for that district play. And we know that. And we know that we're going to find out a lot about who we are after that week 2 opponent in Wagner. And then we go right into Salisaw, who I believe was 8-4, last year, and made a run in Class 4A. And so that's another great challenge for us. So getting prepared and ready for district play is very important, and we know that that's only going to come with very good quality football teams in that non-district slate. And so we're excited. We get to go to Wagner week 2, and they're one of the premier teams on this side of the state, and we get to see just kind of where we match up early in the year with for somewhat of an inexperienced football team.
Well, with everybody, with these top-notch games coming into town and y'all going over there, I mean, what do you think about the fans and what kind of precautions is Tahlequah making as far as being safe with the student body and everybody inside the stadium?
Well, that's a great question. We've been talking about that a lot. We're going to try to social distance, and we're going to tape some things off, and we're going to recommend everybody wear masks to the games. So we're trying to do everything that we possibly can. But there's only so much you can do, and I don't have all those answers. That's why I'm glad I'm not an administrator. But they get to try to figure out those plans. But Matt Cloud, our athletic director, is doing a great job, and he's come up with a plan, and it's going to be put into place. And so obviously there's going to be a lot of changes and a lot of things that we have to get used to and adapt to. But as long as everybody understands that it's about those young men on the field, and we want to make sure that this season not only gets started, but it finishes, I think everybody will do their part in making sure that occurs.
Well, you know what? I hope another district championship occurs in your future.
That'd be great. I'm hoping so too.
Well, Brad Gilbert from the Tahlequah Tigers, thank you so much for joining us today.
Welcome.
And we'll be right back on the End Zone.
Hi, we're Bravado Wireless. You may have seen us at your local events and wondered just exactly what we do. We provide the highest quality cell phone service, specializing in outstanding coverage, both locally and nationwide. We're headquartered right here in Oklahoma, with multiple store locations in eastern Oklahoma. We provide the most affordable, unlimited talk, text, and data plans available. Make sure you stop in now and enjoy our other amazing summer deals before they end. Visit Bravado Wireless store locations for all other details, or go to bravadowireless.com for more information. We are Bravado Wireless, and we believe in the power of connection.
Here in eastern Oklahoma, we know that dirt roads have a unique way of helping us find direction. Whether you're figuring out where you're headed or where you came from, Bravado Wireless was built on the back roads to help you find your way. Right now, you can get 3 free months of our premium wireless plan with your choice of an iPhone SE on us or half off an iPhone 11. No matter what direction you take, Bravado Wireless has you covered. We are Bravado Wireless, and we believe in the power of connection.
Welcome back to the End Zone, provided by Bravado Wireless. I'm your host, Deion Imade, and my man Bill's sitting with me right here. Class 4A is on the agenda, so let's talk about it.
32 teams going to race for gold that first weekend in November, starting with the playoffs and then moving on into the first week of December before they decide who will win 4A. There are some favorites to win a gold ball, but there are a lot of teams that could spoil the party, and as it has been proven time and time again, you got to win the games you're not supposed to win, and then win absolutely those games that you're supposed to win. You can't afford to mess up. Otherwise, you might find yourself in second or third or fourth place, or even potentially out of the playoff picture. But if you start with the 32 teams, that breaks down into 4 8-team brackets. And you've got District 4A1 that has got some very, very talented teams. And I know we've got 4 we're going to kind of break down in depth. But one team that I don't think you can ever leave out of the discussion, especially when it comes to district play in 4A1 and most importantly also in 4A football altogether, the tradition of the Clinton Red Tornadoes. I mean, I can go all the way back to the days of Roy Bell, and he was one of those highlight players that came to the University of Oklahoma. And some other guys along the way, and there's too many names to mention, but Clinton was 6-5 last year, but 6-5 was good enough to get into the playoffs. Now, how much better will they be this year with Caden Powell at quarterback and Atrell Bryson back in the running back spot? Mike Lee's ball club is going to be pretty good, and they will be a team to contend not just for a playoff spot, in my personal opinion. They could be one of those top 2 teams that host in the first round of the playoffs. But that's the Clinton Red Tornadoes. The next team we've got to look at, though, are a team that kind of has an interesting mascot name, the Fighting Chicks.
That's one of the ones that I've had to double take and look again. Like, wait, what?
Well, Jerry Don Bray's ball club was 6-5 last year, and they will run the offense in a hurry. They run the spread offense. They like to kind of give you a different look defensively with that odd stack, and they've got some very outstanding players. Casey Lowry is their quarterback that last year tossed the ball through the airways for almost 2,000 yards, and altogether had 19 touchdowns. He's back for his senior season. He's got a go-to wide receiver in Caden Stevenson, who's at 450 yards last year. He'll probably double that this year. But like I said, that odd stack defense typically gives your linebackers a lot of opportunities to come off a block and stop things right there in the gap. And with the linebacker, Eddie Wadahua, I hope I got that now right, but when they hit him, they say, Wadahua, because 5'9", 210-pound senior last year, he had 70 tackles. So he makes a lot of things happen. But they'll open their district play with Weatherford. That could possibly be a district championship matchup right there.
Man, to start off the season, that's a heavy task for that team right there. And the fact that they run the stack, I'm guessing they're anticipating to play a lot of teams that run the football, keeping those, those double teams and those offensive linemen off those linebackers so they can come off and make plays. Very important. Hopefully they get that done defensively.
Well, it should be an exciting year for the Chicks, that's for sure. I think 6-5 will be just a starting spot for them in 2020.
Well, next team we have on the list, Cash, the Bulldogs, coming off of 8-3 season. What do you think about their
5 consecutive trips to the playoffs? Farron Griffin's program is proving that it's kind of on the right track. They've got some key players back, 7 offensive starters, 5 on the defensive side. Hunter Glenn's the quarterback that really runs the offense, but the guy that starts each and every play is the offensive center, Alden Connerman. He's 6 foot, 220 pounds. He's a first step high gear guy. He knows how to block down, but he can also create a lot of havoc in that offensive line and make things happen there. That's really one of the strengths because they've got 4 starters back in that offensive front, so that's always a good foundation for a successful offense.
It certainly is. Next team on our list, Weatherford.
Well, here's a team that last year got all the way to the championship game and could have and possibly should have won the district title, but the Poto Pirates got their first ever state championship. But Reagan Roof has proved that he knows how to win football. They've had 6 consecutive winning seasons. They're again one of those tradition ball control type offense, but throw when they need to or when they want to. And that I formation will click. The defense is solid because of the 4-3 up the field play. Ryan Shields is a outstanding linebacker. He'll only be in his junior season this year, but he had 129 stops last year. But the workhorse in the offensive backfield, and he'll get a lot of carries in that I formation. I mean, it's traditional, old school I formation, run the football, up the gut, off tackle. Sam Hoffman, last year 1,307 yards on 207 carries in those 14 ball games. So you get the idea. He gets a lot of touch, and he crossed that end zone 11 times.
Yes, he certainly did. Next team on our list going down here is Bethany.
Before we get away from Weatherford, though, there's a guy that I didn't make mention of, and I know we have to because he plays fullback or tight end. He plays defensive end or linebacker, and he's already a commit to the University of Oklahoma. I know you didn't want me to talk about it sooner because of your Cowboy connections.
I was trying my best for you to just move it on.
Yeah, Ethan Downs. I mean, this guy is 6'5", 235 pounds, senior. He had 13 tackles for loss among his 82 tackles, as well as what he did on the offensive side. So with Hoffman and Downs as a 1-2 combination, kind of playing off each other, Weatherford is for real.
Yeah, no doubt. 6'5", 235 pounds. Whew, they don't make them like that everywhere.
Right.
Well, let's go down the list of Bethany.
Bethany, the Broncos, 11-1 last season. They've won 33 games the last 3 seasons. So John Arthur's got things kind of playing his way. He's got some offensive playmakers that go both ways, but one of the main guys, Peyton Toll, 6'7", 235-pound senior, got great hands to go along with his size. The quarterback, Gary Adams, is going to be really a guy that kind of makes things happen as well. Alex Millspaw is another guy, though, that can turn things upside down, whether he's playing offensive line or defensive line. He's another one of those small guys up in the trenches, 6'3" and 270 pounds. That can move.
It certainly can. And the thing that I like about this Bethany squad is that defense, that 4-2-5 defense, and getting extra defensive back on the field, able to play around with those, coverages a little bit with that, disguising. And hey, when you want to pass the ball, there's not a lot of windows, not a lot of big windows to throw that thing into. So making it hard for their opponents to make some big first downs.
Well, the defense is going to be the strength early on. How well the offense matures and stays healthy will be key for the Broncos' hopes in 2020.
Yes, it will be. And when we come back, we'll preview 4A District 2. From nationwide coverage to live high school sports to the great outdoors and so much more, we've got something for you. We're a local wireless carrier right here in Oklahoma. We work for your town, in your town. But great cell phone signal in rural areas is just scratching the surface. We also broadcast live events from all over eastern Oklahoma. High school football, basketball, baseball, dirt track races, livestock shows, and community events. Everything to keep you connected in your community. We're also producing original shows like Connect Outdoors and Cooking Wild that shines a light on real Oklahoman experiences. You can find us at bravadowireless.com, or you can search for us on Facebook or YouTube. You can even find us on the Oklahoma Sports Network. You can download their app straight to your phone, Apple TV, Smart TV, or Roku. We don't just create for Oklahoma, we are Oklahoma. We're Bravado Wireless, Oklahoma's service provider. Welcome back to the End Zone. Now we have 4A District 2. Let's go ahead and knock them out.
Well, let's start off with the Blanchard Lions. Jeff Craig runs an up-tempo style offense, and they will move the ball around in a hurry. With a quarterback like Colby Langford, who last year had 1,125 yards and 11 touchdowns, even though the Lions went 4-6, their first losing season since back in 2014. I think the schedule is going to give them the opportunity to flip things over. But Langford will be one of those key players. Tyler Blackburn is another young, very athletic young man. But a linebacker that changes the flow of the game in a hurry is Logan McKay. He had 100+ tackles a season ago, 5'11", 215-pound senior, and he likes contact. He'd just soon run over you as look at you.
Yeah, and they're going to have a good, fall workout because coming up on the schedule early, September 4th at Noble.
Well, they've got 5A contender Noble to open the season on September 4th, but they do have the 9 returning starters on offense, so that's nice to have that type of experience as well as to have 9 starters back on defense. So when you've got that type of returning talent, you just hope that everything stays healthy and those guys you're filling in are program players that are just been next man up waiting to go.
Speaking of program players and next man up, the Tuttle Tigers, a storied, popular, to program with a lot of athletes coming in and year out.
Brad Ballard has proven that the Tuttle Tigers football program is solid. I think they're one of those teams that could contend for not just a district championship, but also be in the conversation certainly at the end of the year for the big gold ball in Class 4A. Some key players there for Tuttle. Corbin Graham, an offensive lineman. Hunter Anderson, a defensive back. Those kind of guys can change the direction of a game. But it's young but inexperienced, but tradition rich. And that's typically all Tuttle needs because they like to refer to themselves, their logo is Stack T's, TT for Tuttle Tigers. But they also like to kind of tongue-in-cheek say, that's Titletown. And so they want to be in that race. They were 11-2 last year. They lost a close game to Weatherford in the semifinals. And Tuttle's going to be a team to really have to deal with in 4A2.
Another team to deal with, John Marshall, as we go down the list.
The Bears at Jeffrey Hornocks seem to have kind of found their way, kind of found their their niche, so to speak. Bryce Stevens is a very talented wide receiver. Devin Johnson is the running back. The offense has got 8 starters, Deion, but how well they will play defensively in their 4-3 alignment against their schedule that's going to be tough because they'll open the year September 4th against Bethany. Then they've got Heritage Hall before they get into district play against Blanchard. And then you've got the couple of last 2 games of the year with Tuttle and Ada right in there. It's going to be a hard road for the Bears to stay healthy and also get to the playoffs, but who knows what happens when we get to that time of the year.
Yeah, when a first-year head coach, it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out there towards the end. But towards the end of our list right here, Ada as a rounds out District 2.
Well, I spent many years living at Ada, going to school at East Central, but then stayed on and was broadcasting for the Ada Cougars and their tradition. They've got more state championship football trophies than any other team in the state, albeit it's been a long time since they won one. 19 state championships in football, but the last title was in 1996. They brought back one of their former assistants a couple of seasons ago, and he's kind of restored the pride of the Cougar football program. They called it Building the A. The block A that they use is their logo. Barris has got a good squad there, and he's got some talented playmakers. Connor Gallagher is kind of an interesting combination. He'll be the quarterback, but it'll also be the defensive end. Now, where does he get that type of toughness? Well, he's also a championship-type wrestler. So he brings that type of mentality at 5'10", 210-pound senior. Offensive lineman with Cole Todd and Dylan Parkey, and then Carter Freeland, who will see some time at quarterback as well. But Gallagher is going to make that offense go. Now, will they benefit from dropping from 5A to 4A? I really don't think there's that much difference between the top of 5A or between all of 5A and the top of 4A. Mm-hmm. But I think when you say Ada and you talk about football, you typically talk about wins on Friday night.
Yeah, you certainly do, and they're going to have to get a win pretty early with a team that you like a lot, McAllister, coming on September 11th.
Well, that depends. It's either POTAC or POMAC, and I won't define what that means. I'll just say it's a tradition rivalry. It's at McAllister, so there'll be a great contingent. Even with all the COVID restrictions, there'll be a big number of fans there on hand, and then, of course, they've got a tough district race because they've got road trips at Blanchard and at Tuttle before they get to the season regular season finale against Clinton.
Well, that rounds off District 2, and when we come back, District 3 is going to, District 3 4A is going to be right there when we will come back. Stay tuned.
At Bravado Wireless, we don't believe in wasting your time or ours. Our mission is to serve you with honesty and integrity. That's why we offer upfront competitive pricing with no hidden fees in our plans. For $40 a month, you get unlimited talk, text, and data with nationwide coverage. No data caps and no restrictions. No matter if it's your first, second, or third line, you only pay $40 per month per line. All of that with coverage on America's best network. We're your local service provider. Come get to know us. Go bold, go Bravado.
Hi, we're Bravado Wireless. You may have seen us at your local events and wondered just exactly what we do. We provide the highest quality cell phone service, specializing in outstanding coverage, both locally and nationwide. We're headquartered right here in Oklahoma, with multiple store locations in eastern Oklahoma. We provide the most affordable, unlimited talk, text, and data plans available. Make sure you stop in now and enjoy our other amazing summer deals before they end. Visit Bravado Wireless store locations for all other details, or go to bravadowireless.com for more information. We are Bravado Wireless, and we believe in the power of connection.
Welcome back to the End Zone. Now we have District 3 of 4A. Bill?
Got some great teams to talk about, and what I really think, and I'm not going to be bashful in saying this, the prohibitive favorite to win 4A in 2020. I don't mean the district title. I'm talking about another state championship football team at Wagner. 10 offensive starters, 9 defensive starters on a ball club that went 10-3. Now, remember, they won the 2014, 15, and 16 team. They put together a 40-plus game winning streak. That's the longest winning streak in the state of Oklahoma. They kind of feel like they've got that winning streak ready to start back and go strong here in 2020. They've got a young man by the name of Alex Smith, who's a commit to the University of Tulsa. All he did last year was make 122 tackles, 24 of those for loss, and 13 quarterback sacks.
Pretty good numbers.
Not too shabby, my friend. Now, over on the offensive side, they've got some skilled playmakers. Running back Braden Drake is really good. Chase Nani is a very talented receiver, had 786 yards on 39 catches. But again, the general of the offense, the quarterback, Sawyer Jones. Last year, 1,717 yards and 17 touchdowns. I mean, the number 17 kind of fits, and he's got almost 3,000 yards passing for his career. So with offensive linemen and the depth and the strength that they've got up front, with the defensive side, Jesse Fair in that line to go along with Alex Smith, and then the speed and the aggressiveness of the linebacking core and the secondary, as well as their special teams, Wagner has all the pieces to win a district title in 4A3, and I'm just going to say it now. I know we're supposed to do the rankings a little bit later, but my number one pick right now in 4A has to be Wagner.
Hey, man, you can't argue with the Bulldogs right now. They got it going, and I'd be pretty surprised to see them, not be carrying that golden ball at the end of the season. But going down the list, Skiatook is the one that we have looking at.
Another pack of Bulldogs to talk about. 6-4 last year, but they're one of those teams that's not only changing districts, they're actually changing classification, dropping down from 5A to 4A this season. Vance Miller's ball club will run the spread. They'll run the 3-4. They've got some guys that know how to make plays happen, but a key player for them has to be Mason Willingham. He's just a sophomore. There's some young, inexperienced players, but they're players that in a tradition program like Skiatook are those program-type kids. They've been waiting for their chance. A lot of graduation there for Skiatook from a year ago, but the guy that's been one play away or one game away from stepping in the starting row, there's a lot of those that will wear the Bulldog uniform this year, and they could make some should make some noise in 4A3.
With Skiatook coming into the district, you don't think it'll shake up anything that Wagner has going on?
No.
Going on the list.
I'm sorry to be so blunt.
That says it right there.
Yeah.
Ulagog, the Mustangs.
The Golden Mustangs would like to think that they can chase gold. Darren Wegner is now the head coach there at Oulagon. This is a ball club that was always kind of the bridesmaid, to Wagner during those championships that Dale Condit squad won. But again, it's another ball club that'll have to find the right pieces. They feel like they've got a good quarterback in Blake Salt, who had almost 1,400 yards passing on 105 completions and 16 touchdowns, plus can run the football when he has to. Mm-hmm. But again, it's an offense that returns some experience. I think there's 6 offensive starters in that group there, but some young, experienced players on defense. They've got some tough games to battle. They've got Grove and Cleveland for playoff hopes, but I think, when you talk about the Golden Mustangs, they still remember their glory years, and they want to prove that they deserve to be back up in that chase and making it one game for the district title.
Yeah, you said it all. You said it all. Speaking of the Grove, they are our next team up on the list.
The Ridge Runners, 5-4 last season. Ron Colwell has got some kids that know how to make things happen. Offensively, it's a line that's senior dominated, but they're going to have a sophomore quarterback that's going to have to step in and fill the spot. Carson Trimble. Caden Forbes is a running back who had almost 900 yards rushing last year. Emmanuel Crawford, another outstanding running back. Kind of gives them a 1-2 tandem there. Mm-hmm. Both of them got right at 900 yards, but the guys that push the pile up front, Jimmy Phillips and Josh Wright, they're back, and so they'll be key performers for the Ridge Runners' hopes to get into the postseason.
And you got to remember the running back Emmanuel Crawford was a freshman last year and gained 911 yards. That biggest jump in high school is from freshman to sophomore year, so expect some big things from him next
Stay healthy, stay focused, and make things happen. The Ridge Runners would like to be in that 4 teams out of District 3 that make the 4A playoff picture.
Yes, sir, they will be. And that is District 3 for us. When we come back, we'll gather our senses and gather our come together group, and then we'll tell you about District 4. There you go.
All right.
We'll be right back here on the End Zone.
Hey there, have you heard? Bravado has deals for days.
You mean like a free smartphone?
Well, yeah.
With unlimited talk, text, and data for just $40 a month?
You're darn tootin'.
Then why the blazes are we talking on these?
Make the switch to Bravado today and fall in love with a brand new free smartphone. See store for details. Find locations at bravadowireless.com/boldmove.
Baby, you're the boldest.
Bravado Wireless. Experience the power of connection. When you come home after a long day, Bravado Wireless Home Internet has you covered in your neighborhood or on your farm. For a limited time, our unlimited home internet has been discounted to only $49 per month with the purchase of a $99 router. And get this, the first 3 months of service is on us. So what are you waiting for? Make the switch today and visit us at bravadowireless.com for more info and to find a store near you. We are Bravado Wireless, and we believe in the power of connection.
Welcome to the End Zone, brought to you by Bravado Wireless. Well, we've got 4A, District 4, in our hands right now. What do you think?
Well, before we get to the 4 spotlight teams we got to focus on, you and I both got to have on red shirts, and red's going to be the predominant color, or at least 3 of the teams we're going to talk about are going to wear the red. One team that's not in our 4-team spotlight, but I think it deserves some recognition, are the Tigers of Fort Gibson. Coach Whiteley over there is 4-7 last year, got into the playoffs. They've got some key personnel they got to replace and grow up some, but they've got a team leader in Devin Woodworth, 123 tackles last year, and he'll also probably get over on that offensive side to make some highlight reel performances as well. But Fort Gibson Tigers, I think, could be one of those 4 teams that make the postseason out of District 4A4. But the team that won it all last year, the Pirates of Poteau, 12-1 the last 2 seasons, but they did what they had never done in school history last year. Wetsuit. They went all the way to the championship. That wetsuit was their phrase, and that's one of the things they talk about. And it's kind of a secret phrase, except for those amongst the Pirate Nation. But they've got some talented kids. 12-1, like I said, 24-2 the last 2 years. The first time ever to win a state championship. Got some playmakers. You start off with Jagger Deal. Here's a young man that goes both ways. Not only is a proven running back, but he is a difference maker, as he was in the state championship game in the defensive backfield. Colton Williamson, who's a wide receiver, but he was actually one of the top 10 punt returners amongst all levels of play in the country a year ago. So he can kind of change the flow of a game with a kick return or a punt return. And then the linebacker, who had 107 tackles last year, is Jake Patterson. He's 5'10", 205-pound senior. He is strong as an ox, and he will hit you and make you remember the contact. So I really like Poteau. I really kind of think that they may be the team to beat in Class 4A4, but we'll have to just wait and see how it all plays out. But they start against a 5A squad in Bishop Kelly and have some tough games, and including one of the teams that we'll be featuring a little bit later on in Broken Bow, but that last regular season game. But the October 9th matchup is it's a natural rivalry, Deion. Mm-hmm. Sallisaw and Poteau, you really can't say those 2 words in the same breath without spitting over yourself. And with COVID protection, we don't want to do that, man. And it doesn't take anything to get those 2 teams a little bit fired up. And last year, Sallisaw surprised everybody. They were really the surprise team of District 4 and got into the playoffs. Not just got in, but they actually went and finished 8-4. Randon Lowe has done a tremendous job of rebuilding that tradition-rich program. Spread offense that'll sling it around the yard. They'll run hurry up. He calls it an air raid, but they match it up with a little bit of a running game as well. But they've got a proven quarterback in Jackson McTire, 5'11", 195-pounder. He's a baseball standout, can throw the fastball, and he can zip the football. As quarterback coaches will tell you, he can really spin it. Yeah. 2,000 yards plus passing last year, 19 touchdowns, and almost 800 yards rushing the football. He'll like to go to his tight end, Ty McHenry, who's big, 6'4", 245-pound senior. But then over on the defensive side, Trenton Jones, here's a young man that has started all 4 years, from his freshman year all the way to senior, and with the experience that they've got on offense with 9 over there as well as 9 on defense, staying healthy, the Black Diamonds could possibly flip the coin and challenge Poteau for that district title, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, 9 returning starters on offense, a very experienced ball club. It's going to be interesting to see how their season ends up. Going down the list, Hilldale is going to be our next team from District 4.
Well, the Hornets last year didn't make the playoffs. and that was the first time since in 7 seasons that Hilldale had failed to make the postseason. But they've got some guys coming back. They're still going to have to answer the question at quarterback. They're going to have to settle on one guy. Now, I don't know who David Blevins is going to finally decide who he's going to let take the lead at the quarterback position, but once they decide that, they've got a proven receiver in Dylan Walker who can also kind of change the flow of a game on the defensive side. He had 46 catches last year, but he was a game breaker in the defensive backfield. And then Watson Schiller, who's now moved from really a defensive-only position, he's going to move over and play the fullback spot, which will kind of give him a power punch to the ground game, but he'll also be a big performer on the defensive end. And then the linebacker that I really like is Jaden McWilliams, 5'10", 190-pound senior, 110 tackles last year. That's back-to-back seasons to be over 100 for Jaden. He can make you remember his contact as well. But it'll be interesting to see how the Hornets can put all the pieces together, and then they will need to stay healthy.
I believe you're right. So next on our list is the Savages of Broken Bow.
Well, this is so far away from most schools in 4A that it takes a week to get down there. And you have plenty of time to get your mind right, especially if you have to go to Broken Bow. And some of those road games for teams out of 4A4 certainly present a problem. And when I don't know if you've ever been there, Deion, but when you go to their stadium, it's actually a WPA stadium, which has a big rock wall all the way around it. Now, they've improved the press box facilities from the time I first went there, because I actually broadcasted a Hilldale game at Broken Bow back many seasons ago, and I had more of a traffic flow behind me of little kids wearing black and gold jerseys that had Savages on the front. Everybody that shows up at a Broken Bow game is going to be wearing black and gold, and their fans will be rabid. They'll be ready for an exciting season. 7-5 last season. Chandler Fleming's back at quarterback. Here's a nice-looking young man on the football field, 6'3", senior, had over 1,000 yards and 16 touchdowns last year. He has got a wide receiver in C.J. Whitfield that if you give him an inch, he'll take it for 6. He's got that type of quickness, and he also plays in the defensive backfield. But be interesting to see how this all plays out with the opening game on 0 week at McAllister. Then they've got that McCurtain County rivalry that bears nothing else be added to it, and when they match up against Idabel on September the 11th, which Idabel will be a team in 3A that'll make a lot of noise. But then Hilldale on October 2nd, Sallisaw on the 30th, and then what could be for a playoff deciding contest, perhaps a district championship for the Broken Bow squad. They'll round out their regular season on November 6th against Poto.
Well, that rounds off our look at District 4 for 4A, and when we come right back, we'll give you what you guys been waiting for. Me and Bill, our top 10 for Class 4A. We'll be right back on Bravado Wireless.
Here at Bravado Wireless, our number one priority is keeping you connected during these turbulent times. We understand that staying in touch with friends and family is of the highest importance. To that end, our company goal is and will continue to be keeping our network operational so that you can communicate with those who matter most. Inevitably, as we deal with COVID-19, we expect usage patterns to change as people are staying home, in which this could result in our network capacity becoming stretched thin. In these times of heavy usage, you may experience degraded network quality, more busy signals, and slower data rates. If you experience these issues, we ask for your patience, as our network technicians are focused on keeping the network operational as a top priority. We hope that you understand as we are all dealing with this health crisis together.
We were there when your grandparents made their first telephone call. We were there when your parents were able to choose what to watch on cable. And now, we're here for you, providing high-speed internet service to your family. There is one thing we know for sure. No matter what happens next, Cross is here to keep you connected. Cross, serving families like yours, today and tomorrow.
Welcome back to the End Zone. I'm Deion Imade. My man Bill's here right beside me. And guys, we've heard your complaints. We know what you've been waiting for, okay? It's the top 10 for Class 4A. We've got it. Sit down, get your popcorn.
Bill, take it away.
Passionate football fans in 4A, and they will argue with you till the cows come home. Now, you can kind of give yourself a little bit of strength to talk about when you go discussing high school football with the Oklahoma Pigskin Preview as presented by Vipe with our advertising partner, Bravado Wireless. But when it comes down to Class 4A football, I'm not sure that there's a whole lot to talk about. But we're going to count it down, and we're going to do it from 10 all the way to 1. Now, I've got to think that there's 2 teams, and they're both going to come out of District 4. They're going to be number 10 in my preseason poll, whether it's the Broken Bow Savages or the Saddlesaw Black Diamonds. I think last year's surprise in Saddlesaw gives them reason to warrant a top 10 spot with everybody they got coming back, but I think also Broken Bow's just kind of laying low and laying down there waiting to surprise a few folks, and they'll be in that playoff picture for sure, but I've got them ranked number 10.
Well, for me, I'm going to go with Ada, my number 10 team. Very good. I got a feeling about them. Ever since that Big A and the new the old coach coming back and building that A back up, I think they're going to have a strong year this year.
Cougar tradition? Well, we'll find out. Mm-hmm. But I've got them ranked number 9. My number 8 ranked team are the Broncos of Bethany.
Really? So I
shook the marbles up just a little bit.
Just a little bit. For 9, I got John Marshall at number 9. I think they fare well this year.
Okay, so who do you have ranked number 8?
Ooh, I think Cash will be okay. I think
you're going to put your money on Cash.
I'm going to put my money on Cash at 8, and I think they'll have a good season as well.
All right. Well, I had Bethany as the number 8 team, and then jumping up to my number 7. Different from the rankings inside here, but my number 7 are the Indians of Skytook.
Okay, I can't argue with that because my number 7 team is Weatherford, and then I went Skytook at number 6, so not too far from you.
Okay, I'm going to wait to take my money out of my pocket and go with the Bulldogs of Cash at number 6. Okay, and then number 5, I'm going to put the Blanchard Lions to roar there.
Okay, well I went Bethany 5. Okay. I like what they have going, and then you know who I got. Titletown, number 4. I got the Tuttle Tigers at number 4 this year.
Well, I will agree with you. Tuttle Tigers to be my season ranked number 4. Last year's state champions. Lost a lot of proven playmakers, but I'm going to put Poto in as the number 3 ranked team.
So number 3 for me, I got Blanchard. They look good. They got some guys coming back.
Right.
Think they're going to be able to hang with the big dogs this year.
Okay, so who do you have at number 2?
Number 2, I got Poto.
Okay, you're going to go wetsuit there, are you?
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Apparently, it's a big secret over there in Poto.
Coach Warner, don't worry. I'm not going to tell him what that truly means. He needs to come to a Poto game and find out. If you go to a Poto game, the fans will tell you what that means.
I will find out by the end of this year.
Absolutely. My number 2 ranked team is Weatherford. I think last year's trip to the 4A state championship game gives them plenty of desire to get back there, and I think they warrant the position with the experience that they've got there, and with Mr. Downs kind of leading the way, Ethan Downs, I'm going to give them the number 2 pick on my top 10.
Well, that only leaves number 1.
Uh-huh.
And for me, and I think we can agree,
we will be unanimous in our decision.
Right? Anybody who's arguing against the Bulldogs, I do not put my money on your side. I think the number 1 team in Class 4A is the Wagner Bulldogs.
If you don't like his pick, email him at Deion Imade at bravadowireless.com. And you can find me anywhere around eastern Oklahoma, and we'll have a long discussion about it because I'm going to agree with you. I think Dale Connett's ball club is solid defense, solid special teams, and definitely solid on the offensive side. And they're my overwhelming choice for the number 1 pick preseason. Now, everybody needs to stay healthy, and as every coach will tell you, have a little bit of luck along the way. But I think if you got to pick a number 1 team for 4A this year in 2020, it has to be the Wagner Bulldogs.
Yeah, everybody's got to worry about that, staying healthy this year and making sure that you do what's right so you can play on Friday nights. But if that's the case and everybody is good and 100%, Bulldogs taking this one.
Well, just knock on wood. We get to play the entire season. Whether you knock on wood up here, whether you cross your fingers or your toes, whatever you do, your lucky rabbit's foot, I'm just hopeful that we have a complete season and these seniors get to go out in style, and we'll see who wins 4A.
Yeah, we certainly will. Well, that is the end of our show. I want to thank all of you for watching. Thank the cast and the crew for putting this together. And, hey,
If you want to tune in to some high school football, go to bravadowireless.com. They got everything you need. And also, don't forget, Vibe Magazine will give you the details that you need to go out on Friday nights and know what you're talking about, all right?
You can find that all across the state of Oklahoma, the Oklahoma City metro area, on cues. In eastern Oklahoma, you can go by most of your Casey's General Store, as well as you can still order them online, have it shipped directly to your house, so you don't have to go anywhere during this COVID outbreak. You can have it shipped straight to your house if you want to go online and order the pigskin preview at vipeok.com.
Yeah, certainly do that. For Deion Imade, Bill Huddleston, this is the End Zone. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.